History is divided into three parts: ancient, medieval, and modern. This year, we will be learning the modern history that deals with the fight for independence between the Britishers and the Indians. History of modern India, that is history after the Mughals, that is history of the Britishers. In modern history, it is entirely about the struggle for independence between India and the Britishers, which continued for 150 years. Sources of history. There are three sources of history: material source, written source, and the oral sources. Material sources deals with objects, monuments, coins, statues, museums. Example, Aga Khan Palace, Pune. These all are the material sources or the proofs of the modern history. Written sources are in the forms of writing, newspapers and periodicals, biographies, books, factory records. All this deals with the written sources of the modern history, from which we come to know what had happened exactly in the modern history of India and the Britishers. And the third type of sources is the oral sources, that is povadas, inspirational songs, folk tales, and interviews. Povadas are one-act plays that used to take place in the modern history of India. So we have learned the meaning of sources, that is the types of proofs which the historians required to prove that the history, the stories in history are all authentic. Types of sources: material source, written source, and the oral source. Moving on to chapter number 2, Europe and India. Period of Renaissance, also called as Reformation or geographical discoveries, the foundation of modern era. The word Renaissance stands for change, reformation from bad to good, which took place initially in the country of Europe and had a great impact on the country of India because England was ruling the country of India. Whatever happened in the country of England always had a great impact on the country of India as well. Because of Renaissance, humanitarianism got great importance. This means lot of importance was given to individuals, to the people. Lot of paintings which were done mostly of the humans, of the human beings. Art, architecture, and philosophy were the important factors of the Renaissance. The construction done during this period was unique and remarkable. Through the pictures, through the paintings, through the drawing, emotions of human beings were delivered to the people, and among them, Johannes Gutenberg was the first person to invent printing press in the country of Europe. Lot of reforms took place in the terms of religious factors. Movement against Christian church. During those days, as people were illiterate, the priests in the church took advantage and tried to loot the people by collecting huge, heavy taxes. Renaissance also led to geographical discoveries. New countries were invented, new trading routes for Europeans to reach Asia. The Europeans tried to find various sea routes to India and were successful in finding various sea routes, and they reached the continent of Asia. Intellectual revolution in Europe. Society from medieval age to modern age. People who were illiterate were now literate, and they were now moving on from medieval age to the modern age. People in the medieval age were completely dipped down into the blind faith, superstitions, because they were illiterate. Once they got illiterate, they turned to themselves, they came out of situation, and people were now out of blind faith. People were now able to read, understand various books, various poems, and various stories that changed their life from medieval to modern. Revolution in political sphere. During those days, there were no proper ruler or government for the country of Europe. Because of Renaissance, because of revolution, because of change that led to the foundation of establishment of a proper parliament to the country of England. Since Renaissance or Reformation took place in the country of England, England always wanted to establish their colonies or rule various parts of the world. The first prey that fell into the hands of the England was the country of America, where England established 13 colonies in the country of America. American colonies under George Washington won a war against England. And with this war, the Americans were successful in throwing back England from the country of India, and that is called as American War of Independence. America totally became free from the British powers, and they declared themselves and they called themselves as United States of America. Moving on to the French Revolution. French Revolution gave us important values of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Values such as liberty stands for freedom. From the revolution in France, people became free to do what they wanted to do. People were treated equal in terms of men, women, rich and poor, and in terms of fraternity, human beings started to get respect for themselves as well as for each other. The concept of self-confidence gained great importance in the hearts of the French people. Moving on to our next revolution, that is Industrial Revolution, means revolution or a change in terms of industries. Age of machines, technological innovations. As the word revolution stands for change, lot of change took place in terms of industries also. Lot of new machines were developed. Technological development was also seen. England was called as a world factory because it also had different types of newly invented machines which were helpful for the good amount of productions. That is why England was termed as world factory. Because of Industrial Revolution, they gave rise to something called as capitalism. Capitalism over here stands for richness, money, increase in money, increase in the income of the British. As lot of machines were developed, they were able to produce good amount of products. Because of that reason, they had lot of trade between Europe and Asia. Since Europe had engaged themselves in trade, import-export with Asia, the economic prosperity was widely seen in the country of England. That made the people, the merchants, the businessmen in England richer, which gave to rise of capitalism. Next concept, colonialism. A powerful country exploiting another country. As England was now becoming richer and richer, they started ruling or exploiting another country which were not very rich. That is called as colonialism. Next concept, imperialism. A powerful country dominating another various countries. One country that dominates fully, that tries to establish their power, political power, economic power in other countries is called as imperialism. Two important European countries, that is England and French, were very important to have trade, as French were also equivalent to the England. Both these European countries wanted to have trade with the country of India, the Asian countries, and because of that, they had a fight between themselves. That fight led into something called as wars. Those wars were called as the Carnatic Wars. The war fought between England and France is called as the Carnatic Wars. Foundation of rule of India Company in Bengal, as India was now falling prey in the hands of the Britishers to establish their trade. England had to establish a company that was called as East India Company, and the first place they founded was the place of Bengal. Siraj-ud-Dawla and Britishers had to fight a battle of Plassey because Siraj-ud-Dawla had permitted the Britishers to establish the East India Company only into the city of Surat, but Britishers established the East India Company into the place of Gujarat, which was not acceptable to Siraj-ud-Dawla, and that is why they had to fight between Siraj-ud-Dawla and Britishers, and that was called as Battle of Plassey. After winning the Battle of Plassey against Siraj-ud-Dawla, the Britishers now diverted their attention to the place of Mysore, which was ruled by Tipu Sultan. Tipu Sultan gave a tough fight to the Britishers, yet proved little weaker, and Britishers were successful in capturing the place of Mysore. This is how slowly and gradually the Britishers were now establishing their power in the country of India by acquiring small states first. Fall of Sikh power. Punjab was in the hands of Ranjit Singh. Ranjit Singh gave a tough fight to the Britishers, which led to have many Anglo-Sikh wars. Yet, the Sikhs, Ranjit Singh was not that successful in defeating the Britishers, and ultimately the Britishers captured the place of Punjab. This is how almost all the parts of this country were now getting into the hands of the Britishers. Let us summarize what we have learned. The meaning of Renaissance. Renaissance stands for change, change for good, change from bad to good. Capitalism means increase in money. Since Europe was involved in trade that helped the merchants as the businessmen to become richer, which is termed as capitalism. Imperialism deals with one country dominating the other countries in terms of political powers and also economically. Carnatic wars were fought between England and France in order to have trade with Asian countries. And lastly, Britishers were now acquiring the country, various states in the country of India, and lately they're going to now have a fight between the Marathas, which we'll be studying in the next chapter.